Good morning, students. Today's topic is the continuation of chapter number 3, Nazism and the rise of Hitler from history. First of all, we have to take overview and overlook of this chapter which I had discussed to you one day before. So, according to this chapter, as I told you that how Hitler and his party formed and started rule all over the Europe, and what were the ideologies were followed by the Hitler and his party, which is famous as Nazi party in all over the Europe, even all over the world, followed the different types of act which were totally against the humanity and peace related to the people of Europe and all over the world. So students, today I am going to discuss with you all those circumstances which were responsible for the Nazism and the rise of Hitler in all over the Europe and especially in Germany. So today's first topic is birth of the Weimar Republic. So students, how Hitler had rises his power in Germany and all over the Europe. To understand all these topics about Hitler and his party, we have to understand these topics which I am going to discuss with you, in which during the era of early 20th century, Germany was a very powerful empire and fought the First World War between 1914 to 1918 with the help of Austrian Empire and against the Allies powers which were England, France and Russia. And Germany joined this war very enthusiastically and hoping to gain from a quick recovery, or Germany wanted to gain a lot of money and some important regions of this world to improve the economic condition. But after some years later, Germany realized that the war would stretch on and responsible for the draining Europe and its all the resources. Anyhow, during the First World War, Germany was successful to occupying France and Belgium. Okay? But very soon after, USA joined the war in 1917 with Allies powers of the world, and suddenly the situation turned around. And finally, in 1918, the First World War was won by the Allies with the help of USA and defeating Germany and the Central Powers. Okay? So students, after the defeat of Germany in the First World War and after the abdication of the German king, the German polity was rebuilt. It means after the fall of German king, now the people, leaders and Democrats and Socialists, they were all wanted for the formation of a constitution and democracy in all over the Germany on the basis of a universal adult franchise. So finally, a national assembly met at Weimar, this is a place, and established a democratic constitution with a federal type of structure. Okay? So finally, deputies for the country were now elected for the German Parliament or Riksdag on the basis of universal adult franchise from all over the Germany. Okay? So students, after the fall of Germany in 1917 by the Allies' power, anyhow, Germany became a Weimar Republic. But actually, this republic was not received very well by its own people because of there were two major defects in the formation of Weimar Constitution, which resulted in its instability and number of problems to dictatorship. And one factor is the proportion representation. This created a lot of problem for any one party to gain majority, leading to a rule by coalition. It means a number of people who were belonged to the German Empire, they were not the follower of any one people. Everyone wanted to make their own leader for the formation of New Germany or to run the country. And the second effect was related to the Weimar Republic. Article 48, which gave the president the powers to impose emergency, suspended civil right and rule by decree. Finally, after many confusion and number of conflicts among the deputies and the members of the parliament, the Weimar Republic dissolved about 20 times by the president within a time of only 239 days. And due to this democratic parliamentary system, crisis in the economy, instability in society were responsible for the rise of Hitler's power in all over the Germany. Okay? Now, we have to understand that Weimar Republic was not successful in Germany and why number of deputies and leaders were not in favor of or in the formation of any one government. Because of during the First World War, when in 1917 Germany was defeated by the Allied powers. However, Weimar Republic was not received well by its own people because of the terms and conditions which was forced to accept after Germany's at the end of the First World War. And according to the Treaty of Versailles, which was done by the Allied power and Germany, or which was signed by the Germany and the Allied powers. According to this treaty, Germany lost all its overseas colonies and near about 10th of its population and 13% of its territories. After that, 26% of its coal mines and 75% of its iron mines were given to France, Poland, Denmark and Lithuania, and also to weaken the power of Germany. The Allied powers demilitarized Germany. It means all the military of the German region were also declined by the Allied groups or Allied powers. After that, Germany was held responsible for the First World War and the damages suffered by the Allied countries. Due to this reason, Germany was forced to pay compensation of 6 billion. and the important resource rich Rhineland of Germany was occupied by the Allied armies. Here I want to clear one thing in front of you, that how Allied power demilitarized the Germany. So students, near about 1 lakh army reduced from the German region, and no air force and modern weapons, and could not build large battleship. All these were a kind of treaty and kind of condition which were imposed by the Allied powers on the Germany. So in this way, Germany demilitarized by the Allied groups of the countries of the world which were responsible for the fall of German Empire. Alright? Now, your next topic is the effect of the war. In this topic, we will understand that after the First World War, what was the impact on the countries of the world. So, my dear students, the First World War had a very devastating or destructive impact on the entire continent, psychologically and financially. Because before the World War, Europe was a predator. But now, after the First World War, Europe turned into debtors. It means earlier the European countries were the powerful and great, and they were busy for lending loans to other countries of the world. But after the First World War, and after the destruction and loss of the property and the life and number of things, now European countries were turned into the debtors. It means their economic condition was totally weakened. Alright? And after the paying the compensation to the Allied countries, Germany faced a number of problems like national humiliation and found itself very difficult in financial condition. And also soldiers rose above civilians. It means soldiers who were fought for the Germany, now they were counted very, very important in the compare of civilians. And due to the number of problems and paying war guilt to the Allied countries of the world, people of Germany and all over the Europe were in too much stress and aggression, and they were also against the policies whatever made by the Weimar Republic, because the people of the Germany and the Europe were not satisfied whatever policies and whatever rules and regulation made by the Weimar Republic. Alright? After that, in that type of very worse condition, media started glorifying the very difficult life of the soldiers. And media wrote about the condition of soldiers which were working and living in very miserable condition and in trenches and trapped with rats feeding on the corpses, etc., etc. Okay? And whatever war propaganda and whatever policies made by the groups of the leaders of the Germany and formation of National Assembly, all those were responsible for the rise of conservatives' power in all over the German and Europe, because whatever policies made by the Democrats, Socialists, these were actually not working very well. In this way, conservatives started to increase their power in all over the Germany and Europe. After that, the confusion among the leaders and the deputies of the Weimar Republic. So these all also were responsible for the formation of a new kind of revolutionary group which was famous in Germany as a Spartacist League. And also they wanted to form in Germany a Soviet style of government which was actually demanded by the people of Berlin. But that revolutionary uprising, suppressed by the group of these people who were responsible to run the Germany, and with the help of a new type of free corps, which is also famous or known as veterans organization. All right. And finally, the effect of the war, which were responsible for the crisis in the country related to the economical and political. So students, when Germany fought the First World War mainly on loans and later had to repay it in gold, and this is responsible for the depletion of gold reserve in Germany that time. And as you know very well that and discussed above that, Germany refused to pay the loan in 1923. In return, France occupied its leading industrial region of Ruhr, which was very famous for industrialization and development in rural region of the Germany. And after that, due to the complete loss and to change the economic crisis, Germany began printing paper currency without any policy, without any rule. So due to the reckless printing of these paper currency, responsible for the formation of economic crisis again, because due to a lot of printing currency paper or currency notes, the value of German mark fell down. And this situation in Germany is known as the hyperinflation, and the meaning of hyperinflation means a situation when prices rose and the value of currency fell. Alright? So as I told you above that, with too much printed money continuously, the value of German mark fell down, and finally in April the US dollar was equal to, it means $1 was equal to 24,000 marks, and in July $1 of US was equal to 353,000 marks. And finally, in August, in the compare of $1, the value of mark fell continuously. So, due to this type of condition, which is famous in German history as a hyperinflation, alright? So, students, your next topic is the era of deflation. As I told you in the above topics that Germany fought war on loans and was made to pay in gold, and reckless printing of a paper currency declined the value of German mark, and due to this hyperinflation further created chaos in all over the Germany. So finally, to solve out the problem of Germany and to improve the economic condition of Germany, USA came forward and introduced the DICE plan to bail out Germany from any kind of economic crisis. But students, in this topic we will understand how in all over the Europe, how this crisis or economic condition of Germany were responsible for Great Depression between 1924 to 1928, and this year was responsible for the economic stability. So students, in this condition, as I told you, between 1924 to 1928, anyhow, Germany was successful to bring some change in their country, because whatever German investment and industrial recovery were totally dependent on the short-term loan which was taken by the Germany from the USA. And this support was withdrawn when the Wall Street Exchange. It means whatever loan taken by the Germany from the USA and where the Wall Street or Wall Street Exchange was working. And students, this Wall Street Exchange was the stock exchange of the America. Finally crashed down in 1929 because people were worried about the condition of Germany, and they were all in fear of fall off in prices. That's why people made frantic effort to sell their shares. And on 24 October 1929, 13 million shares of the Wall Street were sold by the people. And this is responsible for the starting of the Great Economic Depression in the year of 1929 to 1932. And after this condition, the national income of the USA completely fell by half. Number of factories were shut down, exports were also fell, farmers were badly affected by this type of condition and situation, and after the facing economic crisis by the Germany, US was the second country of the world which was in the Great Depression. So students, as I told you about the US, so now I am going to discuss about the Germany. The German economy was also in very worse condition, and during the era of 1932, the industrial production of Germany was reduced 40% till the year of 1929, and workers lost their jobs, and those who were working, they were paid by very less wages, and unemployment were common in all over the Germany. Near about 6 million people were unemployed, and people were started to moving on the roads of Germany, and they were willing to work at any going wages. So students, on the basis of the above story related to the US economic depression and Germany economic depression, we can understand that how the formation of Weimar Republic was not successful, because Weimar Republic had different types of shortcomings and different types of defects which were responsible again to fall down the Weimar Republic, and all those above circumstances were responsible for the rise of conservative minded people and the rise of Hitler in all over the Germany and after that Europe. So students, for today's that's all, and in my next explanation I will discuss with you about the Hitler's rise to power. Alright, thank you and have a nice day.